All right, I think we're live. Let's just do a mic check and a webcam check. See if we're coming through nice and clear. Check. All right, looks like we are up and running and things appear to be clear. Just got to look here. I've got some different things going on here with the charts. I'll explain to you guys in a second. Figure all that out. Appears to be working fine. Yeah, so Steve, hello, good morning. Hope you had a nice weekend. I'm still tired, guys, still sick. I don't know what's going on, but we'll do our best to do it. And I'll explain the new setup here. Okay, thanks. So let's see here. Yeah, so the volume settings today for UB are 15,000 contract on the higher time period here to the left, 15,000 contracts. And then here to the right, we've got the 3,000 contract, okay? I've got these logs, trading log, because I'll explain to you what I'm doing here. Anyways, it's very exciting. Everything's really, really good. Just some people from the city's water department had to come in right when I'm about to start working. They're like, Thor was like, I don't know if I'm going to take the power today, but here are some municipal water people have to come in the house and do water checks. like, oh man. Anyways, it's just funny. It's just one of those stretches, you know? So let's see where to start here. So basically what I'm testing now, and I tested this a little bit on Friday at the close. I tested a little bit more this morning, but I can only test it with the live data here on Sierra. So unfortunately, I'm down a couple $100, and I'm using 4 of the challenge accounts. 6 of the challenge accounts are doing great. They're off to the races. 4 of them, I was like, okay, I'm going to start testing, because what I'm doing now is I'm hooking up Apex funding accounts, linking them through Sierra charts. So I'm trying to bypass having to use Quant Tower, Rhythmic, all that stuff. Just bring the Rhythmic data directly into Sierra charts, where I can take advantage of the full functionality of Sierra charts, because Sierra charts is literally like the best charting platform on planet Earth. And you can see I've got my Sierra chart DOM, which I like to use. Now we can actually use it for trading our challenges, which is awesome. So you can see it looks a lot like the Jigsaw DOM. You can see these columns over here. We'll explain these columns in a second. And then today I'm just going to run a test. I'm tired, and these 4 accounts that I've been testing with the copy trading, you know, if I blow these accounts, I don't really care, because I'm trying to figure out this copy trading thing with Sierra charts. So let's do it on 4 accounts. We'll have some fun today. And that's kind of the way we're going to structure it. So we're going to be trading. I'll explain all this new setup. But you guys are going to like this, because what's cool about this is I don't want to follow. We're going to look and see what all the other markets are doing throughout the day, obviously, because we want to understand what the correlations are doing as usual. But we're going to focus on the market where, you know, we've got a good read. So today we've got a good read on the bonds, the ultra bonds. And the reason for that is because the weekly chart here, this is the weekly ultra bonds. You've got a beautiful support level down here. I think the chances are we're headed back up here. And the reason for that is because stocks are probably going to squeeze into the end of the month. They look strong. I don't know if they're going to pull back this week or not. We'll find out. But stocks look strong. I think bonds are going to have to catch back up a little bit. This gap between rates and stocks is already so wide. It can't get, you know, ever wider. I mean, anything can happen, but so I think bonds are going to catch up a little bit. And most importantly, we've got the OMA, you know, really nice confluence of support down here. At first, I was sort of thinking on the daily chart, you know, hey, is this daily going to push down? But I don't think so. I think we're going to have one of these pushes back up here. So I think there's going to be a lot of support for bonds today. So therefore, instead of, you know, monkeying around with all the other markets, let's just trade the bonds, and we'll trade them on the volume-based charts. Because if you're going to trade volume-based charts, they're fantastic, but you can really only focus on one market. So, and I haven't done that up to this point on the stream because I've been thinking, well, I want to kind of make it entertaining for people. Well, this is not tradertainment. This is actually how I make a living. So I got to do it the way I need to do it to make a living. And I can, you know, focus on one market that I like the best for my daily pick, which today is bonds, because nothing else was super clear for today. Bonds have a nice weekly pattern, so we'll trade bonds from the long side. And then if I'm going to pick bonds, you know, between the 10-year, the 30-year, and the ultra bond, I always pick the ultra bond because it just gives you a little bit more volatility. And it's a lot of fun. I'm glad you like it, Steve. Thank you. I got the maestro's approval there. But what I'm doing with these 6 of the accounts, they're on their way to passing, and I'm just protecting those accounts because, you know, I don't want to mess those up. I'm in the process of like kind of messing up these 4, but I'm testing here with Sierra, so they're only down a few $100. It's not a big deal, but I'm going to kind of go for it with these 4 accounts as I get this. So I'm going to explain to you what we're doing with the copy trading. It's really cool now. So watch this, guys. Let's just make sure that this. So let's say I want to get long down here. Let's just say, right? And I'm trying to explain to you guys. Now you can see very clearly on the DOM here, right? And on the chart, you can see exactly, you know, what's going on here. This is where we're looking to buy. This is our stop. This is our, you know, and if I want to move the stop, move the limit, you know, like this, you're going to see it move on the DOM. So you can see very clearly when I'm calling stuff out, you'll be able to see and follow along very clearly where we're trading, right? So, and I've got this, I'm canceling this now. I've got this now being copied. This is one of those 4 accounts, and it's copying over to 3 more. So I'm running the test on 4 copy charts with Sierra. Yeah, I mean, if you want to trade the 10-year, Steve, they're going to be extremely correlated. So all you have to do is, you know, bring up whatever charts you want for your 10-year, and you know, you can pretty much, when I'm calling out analysis on the ultra bond, you know, as long as you stay on the right side of my analysis, you'll do well on the 10-year as well. Yeah, I'll do a video on the new setup when I have time. But basically, instead of using a daily chart here, let me go ahead and bring up my drawing tools here for you guys. You guys will catch on fast. I just did a new video too for the channel. I think if you watch, Steve, have you watched that introduction video? The new one that I did? You watched them. Okay, cool. Nice. So we're going to get in the analysis here in a second. But yeah, I'll make a new video when I have time. But I think the newest one was also a little bit better than the one we had before. So, you know, and to be honest, it's like, you're going to figure this out, Steve, because you're studying the course, you're making money with OMA, like you're here every day, you're putting in the time. This is not tradertainment. So if the stream grows, great. If the stream doesn't grow, I actually don't really care. So if people want to come, you know, I'd like to make it grow, but people are going to have to put in a little bit of effort. And I realize that most people don't want to put in effort, which is why they're going to struggle and thrash with their trading. And that's, I guess that's the way it has to be, right? Not everybody can be a winning trader with it being a zero-sum game. So those who want to come and pay attention are going to figure out very quickly that we are trading. You know, what market are we trading? It's like, well, we're trading the ultra bonds. That's UB, you know, right up in here. You can see that we're trading the UB on the price scale. And then, okay, so what chart are we using? Well, we're using a higher time period intraday chart here, and we're using a lower time period here because we're using multiple time period analysis. And then as usual, we got the daily, the weekly, all that kind of stuff, you know, typical OMA stuff. And now, just so you're aware, Steve, down here, I've got some volume information. This is just, I pay attention to this a little bit, but it's not like, what tips you off for volume, footprint related stuff is when you see big divergences. So I'll explain those as we see them. It's kind of fun. Yeah, that's why 90% fail, because they don't want to take the time. So those who want to take the time will, you know, have a much higher likelihood of succeeding. So down here, guys, the new setup. So we're trading the ultra bonds today. This is a 15,000 contract chart. So if that's confusing to you, I'm sorry, but it's the same as an hourly chart, except instead of being based on time, it's based on a number of contracts. So in this chart, every time the Ultra Bonds trade 15,000 contracts here, right, volume of 15,000, then we will get a new bar. And then that will trade 15,000 contracts. Then we get a new bar. So it's the same as an hourly, but it doesn't move on time. It moves on volume, which makes it just so much better. And then here we have the lower time period. When I'm using volume-based charts, I like to make it divisible by 5. So if this is 15,000, right, we divide by 5, we get 3,000. So this is kind of like our entry chart, you know, where we're going to enter the trades and manage the trades and all that. And now what you can see is really cool. So when we're doing all that and I say, hey, we're going to go long here, boom, I click here. You can see all this on the chart immediately. You can see it on the DOM. You can see how I'm managing the position. So you'll be able to see all that happen, you know, in real time now on the screen, which I think a lot of people will like, and it'll help me, you know, show you guys like where we're getting in, where we're getting out. And then the DOM over here. So I've got one DOM on the chart, which you can see, which is where I can very easily execute based on the chart. And then I've got this DOM over here that looks a lot like Jigsaw, right? It looks a lot like Jigsaw. It's because it's identical to Jigsaw, except I built it in Sierra charts. So you don't have to pay for Jigsaw. You can just get Sierra charts and then build the Jigsaw DOM within the Sierra charts infrastructure, which is awesome. You can also build heat maps inside Sierra charts. So we'll get to that at a later point. I don't really use heat maps, but we'll have them. Sierra chart, you can do everything that all these other little add-ons have. You can do it all within Sierra charts. We can even copy trade now. We're going to copy trade on Apex within Sierra charts, you know, which is really cool. Yeah, it's amazing, Steve. Sierra charts is like incredible. So that's why today's my first day copy trading within Sierra charts. That's why I'm taking those 4 accounts. We're going to throw those 4 Apex accounts to the gods and just kind of go nuts with them, have a little fun, test out this new setup. I got the 6 accounts I'm protecting on their way to passing. You know, probably those are over 7 days now. So probably at some point I'll just pass one really quick, get my first PA count, and then we'll be on our way to our, you know, our funny goal of 6 million funding, which we'll get to. Just a matter of how fast. Okay, so with the DOM here, just to point out a few things for you guys. So hopefully you're, you know, familiar with the basic DOM setup, and I will do a video for all this, but you know, for Steve right now especially, and for Jazu, whoever else is going to stop by today, you know, this is just your typical volume profile here, right? And the colors are like Jigsaw. This is when you're outside the value area. You get the turquoise. The purple is inside the value area. The orange is the point of control. So, you know, don't worry too much about that. Then you can see the actual volume traded, which is, you know, cool. But then here, this is where it's really cool, guys. On the Sierra charts, just like Jigsaw, you've got the bids and the offers that you can see stacking here, right? Which is really cool. But then you can see pulling and stacking here and here. So you can, sorry, there and here. You can see when they're pulling and lifting, stacking orders. So this is really important. This actually is very beneficial. On a market like the NASDAQ, it's not going to help much because the NASDAQ moves like a freaking maniac. I've got, see, you use different, OMA setups work across all markets, but then when I want to dial down into order flow, I use different tools on the order flow for different markets. Like bonds, you can really get a lot out of the DOM here because it's moving, you know, you can see the pulling, the stacking, you know, you're matching it up with the OMA levels and everything. Whereas on NASDAQ, there are a couple other footprint type things that I use that are really awesome for the NASDAQ, but don't do shit for you on bonds, or, you know, so you got to know what tools to employ in the different markets. So for today on bonds, the pulling and the stacking is really important. So you can see as an example here, and you can see that, right, Steve? It's coming across clear on your screen. I think you are. I think it is. Just check mine. Yeah, I can see it's coming across clear. So you can see they've pulled 79 contracts and they've added 63, right? So, okay, it's clear, good. So if they start to really pull, obviously that's going to lift the offer. This is just kind of really helpful information when you're just managing the trades, right? So it's pretty cool. I like this. So this is like the setup that I'm kind of used to when I trade myself, not on YouTube in front of people, but I haven't been able to do it because, you know, I haven't been, the challenges, and with Apex, I thought I had to execute the copy trades on Quant Tower and all that. So very cool that we can do it all within Sierra charts. So it's absolutely incredible and exciting. So the reason we're trading on the Ultra Bonds today, again, is because in the elite members area, I already did the weekly forecast video. That was about an hour long where I go through all the major futures markets. And then I did the first London forecast video this morning. That was about 15, 20 minutes long, just going over what we're expecting for the week. And each day here on YouTube, we're going to focus on, you know, what market I think is perhaps giving us the best opportunity for day trading. So today, that is the Ultra Bonds. And while we're waiting for the Ultra Bond setups, what we're going to do is we can cycle around, you know, through the other charts. So because we're still using our correlations, we want to see, you know, what's going on. I'm going to move the monthly over here. We want to see what's going on in the other markets. So we're going to continually, you know, be aware of that, obviously. You guys can see, I'll just bring this over here. Here's our scoreboard, right? So, and then when we do that, we'll go ahead and, so right here on the scoreboard, what you can see, if we go to ES, we're just waiting for a setup on the bond, you guys, so we can just quickly go over some of this. But on ES, what you can see here is that we're squeezing higher. I think we're going to continue to squeeze higher, and I think bonds are going to catch up. I don't need to go through all the other markets right now, but Steve, as you know from the videos I did, if you can take some notes and help me keep track of what we're looking for this week, that'll be great, because I put a whole wealth of information into the weekly forecast. So we're just waiting for our best OMA markets each day to trade, and then we're going to trade that here, and we'll constantly check. Like right now, I want to see, okay, is risk still on today? Yeah, like stocks are pushing up, right? Gold and silver are kind of, silver's trying to rally a little bit. So if we go here, let's look at the 10-year. And it's got to load data, guys, because it's bringing in Rhythmic from the Apex feed for those challenge accounts. So I'm not running on the Sierra Charts Teton order network right now. So anyways, we'll get the setup all firmed up. It's only Monday. We're gonna have fun. It's just bringing in the data here for the 10-year. But Steve, it's very clear, very cool how you can use Sierra charts for everything. That's the FOMO chart. Which one's the FOMO chart? 10-year? Man, if somebody gets FOMO from the 10-year, they're in trouble. Here's the 10-year. I put it this way. I'm going to stop going into so much detail out here on YouTube. I really don't need to. I've already gone into all the detail in the members area, and out here on YouTube, we're just going to trade some of it together. Oh yeah, the FOMO chart is the one that's moving. Yeah, the loading chart. Yep. Okay, so we'll load all these later. Right now, we're just interested in the scoreboard. Here you can see the 10-year. I think the 10-year is going to try and stabilize now and push up here. Anyways, guys, this is my pick for today. And then tomorrow, there might be another pick, right? We might be just like on Friday. See, the reason I'm doing this now is because on Friday, with all, you know, like everything went crazy at the same time. I already knew heading into Friday, I wanted to focus on shorting silver. So I should have just had the volume-based charts up on silver, and then, you know, would have made a lot of money. So it's just easier and more fruitful to trade one market, trade it with the volume charts, and you know, let the other markets just do whatever they're going to do. It doesn't really matter. So with bonds right now, see, the game plan for today is, number one, we hope the copy trading between the Apex accounts works correctly all day on the Sierra Charts infrastructure. I think it should. And because I had some problems with it earlier, which is I shouldn't have tested with large size, but that's fine. These 4 accounts, we'll have some fun with them. So here you can see the daily chart. It's, guys, basic OMA. And If you're watching this and paying attention at some point, good on you. I'm happy to help you. I want you to succeed. The weekly here has a lot of support. So if the weekly has a lot of support, we don't know for sure if it's going to hold, but we think it should to start the week. And if it does, the daily is going to have to start rounding the corner here. We have some rules that we're looking for. So basically for today, you know, okay, if these lows start to really break down, then something's wrong, but they're holding. And as long as they continue to hold, I think we're going to be headed, you know, back to these highs, if not today or tomorrow. So I think the pressure now on bonds, there's a buyer down here. Bonds just dropped too much, too fast. They've got to stabilize. So the pressure on bonds should be to the upside today, right? So when we focus on the volume-based charts here, all we do is we can see that this exhaust here, there was an exhaust right there in London, right? Smashed down. And I was watching this and I looked at it, I said, well, if this starts to push back higher, then it's telling us that our thesis of strong support on the weekly and the daily is correct. And so far, that's what we're seeing. So now the question is, because we're going to be aggressive trading this way, guys, very aggressive. Because I, you know, getting into all this the last couple of weeks, I was like, oh, I don't really want to fail a challenge publicly. To be honest, I don't give a shit. If I fail a challenge publicly, I fail it. Like, I'm going to trade these things super aggressively, and I just don't care. Like, I know that my system works. So if I fail some challenges trading aggressively, so be it, because I don't have time to sit and wait, you know, to pass these challenges for a month. I need to, you know, get the party started with these challenges to make it worth my time. So let's just go aggressive and big, and we can do that trading one market. And it'll be a lot of fun because you guys can see all the trades that we're making here on the screen, right? So I think it's going to be fun. It'll be a little tradertainment after all, but in a way that makes sense where we can make money. So here on the ultra bonds, right? If we expect the daily and the weekly to push higher, well, I would expect this to be well supported. So, oh, well, there's a nice little trend line support. Okay, that's interesting. Well, look at the okay. So now I'm looking at this going, well, you know, we've got a lot of support down here into about 126.6 right in here, right? Even here, you can see. But if that's the case, you see now we're kind of trending up here. So guys, if this lower time period chart goes into congestion, well, I mean, I would expect the congestion support level to be strong because of where we are in the higher time period. And I would look to buy it for a move back up, right? And then if it stays in congestion, I would look to buy it again, you know. So this is how we're just going to plan out the trades. We're going to do the same thing that we do when we're trading, you know, we're following all the other markets, just that we're dialing in to our one market here. And this gives us a chance, like, to be more aggressive, and you can kind of get really in the flow with what that one market is doing all day. And it's just, this is how I trade for myself. So now we're going to start doing it together. That makes sense, Steve and Jazu and whoever else is out there. You guys getting that? You digging it? I think you guys are digging it, because now what you guys can do is you can just bring up ultra bonds, and there you go. Like, you, and if you want to follow along, you know, on your charting platform, just set up a 15,000 contract bar chart on the left and set up a 3,000 contract bar chart here on the right. And if you've got Jigsaw or whatever, you'll see exactly what I'm seeing here on my Sierra charts. So that's pretty cool. And I believe with my Sierra charts, I've got the data still being fed in through the Teton order routing system, which is Sierra's, which is far superior to Rhythmic CQG. It's the best. You get really accurate data, but the trades are going to be placed on the Rhythmic network to the Apex accounts. You see why there's a lot of moving pieces here. This is why we're figuring it all out. Exactly. Way less chaotic. Like, just focus on the one asset and, you know, print. That's what I like to do. So, all right, we're going to have the floor opening here shortly, so we need to get ready because we got to plan our trades out. And look, this could be like, oh, it's exhausting up, you got a little flash, and maybe it wants to go all the way back down here. Okay, that's fine. It could do that. But my first thesis, because of, you know, everything I just outlined, my first thesis is that we could have support here around 126.6. So I'm willing to take a shot there, and I'll do the same thing where I'll buy it, and if I don't see it, you know, cooperating, I'll just cut it, and, you know, whatever. We'll just manage our trades. We're looking for good setups, managing risk, all the same stuff we always do, you know? So right now with the bond market about to open, you know, the floor, it opens at 820. You'll start to see the DOM get a little wild. You see they're pulling. You see minus 220, minus 170. They're pulling, and they were pulling up here, and it just dropped quickly. You see how it's dropping now? Because they're pulling. It's really interesting, guys, when you look at the pulling and the stacking. So now the question with the bonds is, you know, is when this closes here, because I like to wait for the closes. So this is 3,000 contracts. So you guys can always see where we are when we're going to close here, down here. Right? This tells you we've traded 2,057 contracts, so we've got about 1,000 left until this bar closes, right? And we can go into all this volume. This is basically the aggressive buyers versus aggressive sellers, ask volume versus bid volume. And then this just tells me what the max ask volume, bid volume, and what the min was during the bar. So it kind of shows you intra-bar. You'll see how we use it, guys. There's no science to it, but it can give you some really good reads when you combine it with OMA. Because you can see sometimes when you have a really strong OMA, you know, support level or pattern, and then the footprint, you can see them like pushing down, and you'll see like a big red, really aggressive sellers, lots of red, a big red number on the delta down here, but then it'll shift back up at the end of the bar, meaning some heavy aggressive buying stepped in. And in a situation like that, you know, you'll see something like this here. Do you guys see this? See this bar here? You're trending up. I almost bought this, by the way, guys, while I was dealing with the water people. I wanted to buy that because, anyways, it's just like, oh, the water people are coming today. That's fucking fantastic. Okay, let's see if Thor can take out our power again. I have a feeling it's just going to be like that until I get over this COVID. And it's February, guys. I don't know where you guys are, but here in Sweden, it's just the worst time of year possible. Nobody above 52 degrees north latitude right now is in a good mood. They're just not. Unless they're on drugs, then they're in a good mood. But if they're not in a good mood. So here you can see, back to this example, you see how that pulled back? You see how the max, it was at one point it was minus 249 on the aggressive selling, but it closed at only minus 62. That means a lot of aggressive buying, you know, stepped in here. And then of course we've got OMA support. So you start to match up these different things all together. It pushes your edge through the roof. Oh yeah, Valentine's Day. You know, I didn't even, is that the 14th? Yeah. My wife and I, you know, we're like, we love each other. We've got a great marriage. And we're like, happy Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's. Like, we don't even care. She goes, do you want anything? I'm like, no. I'm like, do you want anything? She goes, no. Kind of like that with our birthdays too. Like, it's your birthday. Do you want anything? I'm like, not really. If I wanted something, I would just go buy it. I don't really want or need anything. It's kind of funny. Cool. So this is pretty cool. I think the setup looks like it's working. We'll find out once that's the reason I'm going these 4 accounts today. And yeah, that would be great. Having my electricity work, or having the water person not come at the open, you know, would be pretty sweet. You know, I saw this. I wanted to, I was literally standing here, guys, about to go live to you, and the banging on the door. I'm like, what is this? It's like, it's the municipal water people. I wanted to go live and go straight into buying right here. That's fine. There'll be more trades. You know, 7 up to probably get out like up in here around 11. That's 4 ticks on the ultra bonds. You know, that's nice. So I guess we'll go 2 contracts to start the day. I'm going to see if it copies over. Again, I'm just running. I'm seeing if it's copying over to the right accounts and all this kind of stuff. And yeah, so that's what we're kind of waiting for. And for me, guys, this is just a much less stressful way to trade, because this is how I love to trade. Like when I trade by myself, it's almost like meditation. I just sit, I watch, I wait, and I gotta start doing that for myself, even on the streams. So you see, we're kind of pushing higher here. We might just go higher here, but I'm waiting for push back down to these lows. Somewhere down in here. Definitely take a shot down there. And typically, you know, I wait for closed bars, generally speaking, because it just keeps you out of trouble. So, you know, I could set if I was really aggressive, I could set an order down here right now. But I don't do that on my own account, so I don't want to do it on the challenge either. I just wait. Now, what I would like to see is if this fires down here and, you know, I see some support coming in, then we'll buy it, right? I got to change the size of the stops. Right now, I've got it set to like 10 ticks and 10 ticks, but I guess it's fine for now. So yeah, I got to get that electricity. That's my next request, Steve, for my birthday. I was like, ask Thor to please don't take my electricity when I'm about to, you know, pass 10 challenges. Thor could do that. That'd be nice. Because guys, we got a lot of work to do, right? Like, we want to get our funding up. 10 challenges. I mean, that we gotta get this show on the road. I have had COVID though, so I cut myself some slack. I gotta open a scoreboard as well, because I got my scoreboard here on this particular one, but I gotta. Oh, this is the hourly, guys. So this is where we'll check in on the scoreboard. This is where we'll just kind of flip through the markets and going on when we want to. Right now, we're gonna see. I like the support down here, but see, this will tell us. This will tell us if there wants to be support down here. There was a little support. We'll just keep an eye on everything here. You can see, look at the delta down here. Right now it's minus 103. The highest it's been is plus 104. So there were some trapped, because you don't want to go long when there's too many trapped buyers. So 104, you know, there were some people who bought there. You want to know why I didn't buy there? Because I've seen that pattern about 1,000 times, and I've bought that many, many times. And every time I buy it and it goes down here, I go, why did I do that? So repetition, practice makes perfect. Well, it doesn't make perfect. Nothing's perfect. But over time, you learn, you know, a little bit about staying out of the ones that kind of burned you in the past. So now I'm just going to see, now you can see we're minus 52, right? So you see the sellers, they're being met with some absorption. So you'll learn how to read. I'll do a special video for the members area when we have time for that. And Steve, I've come to the conclusion that, like, it doesn't, you can sit out here and analyze till the cows come home. Like, people are lazy. No one cares. The channel will get traction when, you know, I pass 20 challenges or 10 challenges, and, you know, then people will care. That's why I'm doing the challenges, because people don't even care if you trade your own money. They just only care about challenges. So that's fine. And then eventually what I can do is when I trust this system, the good news about this is I can link up my own accounts behind. So while I'm trading the challenges, it'll trade my own account as well. However many I want to trade there. So that's pretty cool. All right. So let me bring a scoreboard over. Yeah, so I'm just, you know, just got to focus on these challenges, and you know, people will come to the stream eventually when they get excited about things, and until then, that's fine. The good news is we're raising the price tomorrow morning, so that's going to be we're lifting the bar. You got in at a good price, Steve. Wink, wink. But you were the first dedicated guy. You believed in OMA before you even knew what it was. And I like that. So that's why you're my man. That's why you got hooked up. And look, you're kicking ass. So that's awesome. That's what I want. Yeah, the best price ever. Well, look, when you're a famous hedge fund manager, you know, don't forget yours truly. And you're being interviewed by Forbes. Like, well, I do got to give a shout out, you know, to Andy. All right. Let's see. I don't want to miss a trade here. So we're at 2,000 contracts now. And you can see that it's all coming. I should be streaming on 1080p, right, Steve? Should be coming through super clear. So you should be able to see 2,000, well, 1974 contracts down here, right? See, because we got to ask ourselves, you know, are we going for congestion entrance down for trend reversal or for a stabilization of the congestion support level here? I mean, I could see evidence either way, but for now, I'm going to bet on support being strong here. And if it's not, you know, we'll take a little loss. No big deal. These 4 accounts, like, they're either going to, you know, we'll see what happens. I don't care if because I had the COVID, right? I only have like, I think these are going to get reset, or, you know, the payment's going to go through again, which I don't care about. But for me, I'm not interested in like building a balance and then paying it. No. Like I'll just go big, and the account gets flushed. I'd rather have a fresh account. Okay, you have it on 1080. So it's very clear on 1080, right? Like all the numbers on the chart, everything you can see very nicely, right? Should be able to anyways. All right, so you can see we got minus 278 here on the footprint, but we're not able so far to get through the OMA level there. So I'm going to have to probably buy here, but I want to wait for the close, or at least till we get very close to it. 2,700. All right, so there you can see. Uh-oh, I might have gone in too early. We'll see. I think it's a good entry. I don't like that it broke the extension there. Now we're just going to watch. Again, I'm just making sure it works on all the accounts. See if we can get a runner back up to the top side. 831. Not a lot on the docket today. We'll see. This thing may want to go lower, you know? But I kind of feel like, you know, there could be some support here, so it's worth a shot. But I'm not digging the price action so far. But with bonds, you got to be patient. Okay, I might get out here soon if this starts to break. Because it might mean that they need to take it lower. Basically, if those lows start to go there, I'm out. So far, not a lot of action, but you got in at 6.2. Nice, Steve. And hopefully we can get this thing just to kind of punch back up toward those highs. You know, I'm kind of interested up there, like around 12-ish. Maybe even 11. I'm gonna put my target at I think I'll put it at 11 for right now. You want those bids to start lifting. You don't want to run into too much support here, resistance. My stop is kind of mentally around break even, but that's just me. All right, I took the profit there for 2 ticks. And the reason I did that, Steve, you're free to do what you want to do, but it could very well go higher. But I'm going to explain. You got to do what you got to do. The reason I took it is because, to be honest, when I look back at this trade, you remember how I entered, you know, I put my order here at 6, and then we had a close down through the extension here. Had I actually waited until the close of that bar, I probably wouldn't have entered because I just don't like that it broke through those lows on close and it broke the extension. Now, it might fire back up there, right? And once I was already in, so I had no choice. But I'm aware of the fact that this crossover here could be resistance. And, you know, I want to wait for, I don't want to, just because we're focusing on one market now, I don't want to overtrade, right? I want to still make good decisions. And I don't look at trading like, oh, I got out and it goes 3 more ticks. I don't care. I trade the charts. When I'm trading my best is when I'm trading the charts. And just looking at this, I had enough reasons to just be out of that trade. So that's fine. And the copy trader seemed to work. So I'm flat. Now that was a couple of ticks profit on a couple of contracts there. So, you know, just going to continue to wait. But Steve, the order execution on the Sierra charts is sweet. It's just like everything is just, I don't know how to describe it, but like when you drag orders on Sierra chart, it's just freaking clean. Like it clicks between each level so nicely. Whereas when you drag orders in like other programs like TradeStation or Quant Tower, the orders slip. Like you can be dragging and the price, it just slips. Sierra charts is just awesome. And if you've ever seen, one of the other reasons I took the profit off the table there, Steve, was not only the OMA stuff, but you'll be able to rewind the tape. I saw there were 190 contracts being pulled. We tapped up into 09 and then right back down to 08. And then once we were sitting at 08, they were pulling. So that's why I took the profit. Anyways, I think even with the delay, you have enough time. We can do a latency test so you know how much delay you're working with. Let me know if you want to do a latency test or if you're busy managing that position, just do your thing. Tune me out. But so far, the copy trader looks pretty darn kind of doing what it should now. I had a lot of struggles with it before. That's why I donated some money on those challenges. But I mean, I didn't lose them or anything, but I had a little hole I had to get out of, and I did. And now I'm getting out of it more. I'm just looking at the prices. Yeah, so it seems to be copying it nicely. I'm still just really tired from the COVID. I can't wait to just feel better. Don't really feel yourself when you're tired. I love just watching one market. I don't know what this is going to do, Steve, but if you're not out, I would just take a break even on that. And hey, you run the risk of it going back up your direction. But, so, you know, you're a big boy. You figure it out. But nice. So are you trading only? Are you trading ZN and UB at the same time? And I don't want to get thrown off on the analysis here while we wait for you, but on different accounts. Oh, okay, nice. Yeah. You know, yeah, you got to. I find that executing on different accounts simultaneously is much harder. I think it's a lot easier to copy, but of course, copying is dangerous because if you have a bad day on one, you got a bad day on all the copies. But yeah, do what you think is best. Whatever's working for you, my man. Yeah. So here, the reason I closed that was because it looked to me based on all the evidence that I saw here that it, you know, probably wanted to fish lower. So, you know, happy I got a couple ticks out of it. I'm happy I read it correctly. You know, that's where the, you know, the DOM is really helpful when you've got good software like Sierra charts here and you can see the pulling and the stacking. That was pretty sweet. So now I have to ask myself, okay, you know, am I interested in if this sucks up here? There's still some support here, so I'm going to keep a close eye on this because if this closes above that 06 level, I might re-enter, but only depending on if it closes here, and I would want to see a positive number on the delta in that case. Yeah, it's down to 4 here. Oh, I'm digging the setup, Steve. You like it? It's kind of visually, I think it's visually very appealing. I just love the way it looks. All right, so now that we're heading lower, yeah, it's better. Cool. And the way you can see the trade on the screen, right? That's pretty cool. And the DOM, you know, all that good stuff. So now that we're pushing lower, got about 100 contracts left. I'm not going to buy this. There could be a lot of support here for sure. You are kind of slamming down into that 126 support level. I got to make a decision. Minus 166. I think I want to let it settle a little bit. I'm not nuts about it. I want to try and just wait for trades that are kind of like that I can't pass up. This one's like, I could see it bouncing here, but you know, could also head lower. So I'll just stay patient because the higher time period here, you know, it may want to just stay in congestion and head back down here. We're going to have to wait and see. Let's take a look at the scoreboard. Now's a good time. Might have to load a bunch of charts here. That's fine, Steve. It's just me and you. All right, let's see. I'm gonna change the chart setting here so we're not. Oh yeah, that's why it's taking so long. God, bringing in 365 days of daily data. So let's see if this goes faster. Yeah, that was faster. Now we can see ES just kind of range bound. All right, NQ. So we're up a little bit to start the day on the ultra bonds, which is nice. We've got a new setup here, which is awesome. Gotta go here. Guys, if you're just joining us, we're having a good start to the day on ultra bonds. We're going to focus on ultra bonds today. And the new setup, basically, don't be intimidated by it. You've got a 15,000 contract volume chart here. You've got a 3,000 contract here, right? So you can think of this as like a 1 minute chart here and a 5 minute chart here. It's like that, except I'm using volume, right? And what I'm doing today is I'm testing copying trades on the Apex challenges via the Sierra Charts platform, which is pretty cool because Sierra Charts is my preferred charting platform. I love Sierra. And you can see I've got my Sierra DOM set up like Jigsaw here. So you can do everything within Sierra. You don't need to have Jigsaw, and you don't need to have, Bookmap. You can even set up your own Bookmap style with a heat map in Sierra. So Sierra Charts can do everything, which is why I love it. And their data is just amazing too. I have no affiliation. I'm just telling you what's worked best for me. So anyway, so you can see the DOM over here is a lot like a Jigsaw DOM. And then right now, since we do expect some support for ultra bonds today, so we're just waiting for good opportunities. We managed to just buy a couple contracts down here and then get a couple of ticks there. And now we're just waiting for the next support level to potentially kick in and buy some more ultra bonds. So each day we're just going to use the volume-based charts on one asset class, whichever one I kind of like the best for that day, and we'll just milk that one asset class for each day. Because on Friday, when silver was going nuts, I don't know if you guys were here on Friday, but had I been able to just focus on silver, I would have had a big day. But as it was, I had kind of like a break-even, slightly minus plus day. And that's because I was kind of split focused between too many markets. So from now on, I want to focus on the volume charts on one market, which is my top sort of day trading pick for the day. And we'll still keep an eye on, some days that top pick will be ES. Some days it'll be NQ. Some days it's really just what I'm seeing on the higher time period and where I think we can pick off the lowest hanging fruit is what we're looking for. So today, guys, the game plan, we're going to have a little bit of fun. I've got these 4 challenges here that I'm just, before I go nuts on all the challenges, like right now we got 6 challenges that are on their way to passing, which is awesome. And then these 4 challenges we're going to kind of mess around with a little bit and make sure Sierra Charts is working correctly. But I don't want to sacrifice the 6 I've already built up a nice cushion on. So these 4, we'll just kind of, still going to look for good trades and use Owings market analysis and everything else. But, I'm just counting on, when you're starting a new, this is copy trading now within Sierra Charts. I didn't even know you could do this. I just thought about it on Friday night, like heading into the close. I thought I should. Sierra Charts has everything. You must be able to copy trade in Sierra. So I started Googling around on YouTube and like, yeah, you can. Just that not a lot of people do it. So it's cool because we got the DOM here on the chart now, guys, too. So you'll see when I execute. So let's say I want to put in a buy order. So you see you guys here, boom. Now you can see exactly where my order is. You can see where my stops and my limits are, right? Copying to my other accounts. Now I cancel. Now you can really see, and you can see it on the DOM as well. And over here, what's really important on the Jigsaw style DOM is what I love about this type of a DOM is you can see the pulling and the stacking next to the bids and the offers. So you got the bids here, and then here you can see if people are pulling or stacking on the bid, and the same here on the offer, right? And this is really helpful. I mean, if you go back and watch the tape, you'll see when I took the profit up here for just a couple of ticks, originally I wanted to make more on that trade, but I took the trade off because I could clearly see that we were at an OMA resistance level, and I could see that the bids were being pulled aggressively and the offers were being stacked. So I just got out of the trade, and not too long after that, it dropped. So you can get a lot of really good information by using the order flow and plugging it into the OMA levels. And that's why I've got the delta down here as well. The delta does give some really good information. That's the thing, guys. Like, some people have like market delta, and then they have jigsaw, and then they have bookmap. You can do it all inside Sierra charts. Oh, it's awesome. So now the question is, where do we want to take action on the ultra bonds? I'm thinking right now that as long as the lows of the day hold. Now, if the lows of the day don't hold, and we need to switch our thesis to another market, we'll do that. But the reason I'm interested in ultra bonds now is because we're starting the week off with a really strong support level here on the weekly ultra bonds, right? So that's why I think the daily is going to have strong support. If the daily is going to have strong support, then here on our 15,000 contract, think of this as our hourly. This should stay in congestion and have a lot of support down here. At first, I thought there would be support up here, which is why I bought it. But now we appear to be cycling down here. So this is the next spot where we might look to buy. And I'm kind of thinking it might stay in congestion, like this. That's just the thesis, for right now. So I hope that makes sense. So then you can just see right now, guys, you see how we're trending down on the lower time frame, which tells me that, we're not really ready to start buying in here yet. And you can see that the delta here, right? We're minus 469. That's a lot of aggressive selling here, right? You say, Andy, well, why don't you just get short then? Well, because I have my thesis for the day, and I'm just trading in line with my thesis, which is, I think bonds are going to be pretty well supported, and I want to trade them from the long side exclusively, unless that picture changes. But right now, I think, based on, I think there's a lot of support down here. So I'm looking for a spot to get long, because I'm trading today through the lens of, I think ultra bonds should have strong support. So let's wait to get long, and you guys can see that. Again, you'll be able to see everything we do here on the chart, which is really cool. And we're getting our new setup going. I'm digging. Hope you guys had a good Super Bowl. I didn't watch it. I'm in Sweden. Probably wouldn't watch it anyways. I used to care about sports. Now I care about trading. Trading and surfing. Can't wait to get back to a good surf spot. Like the best schedule in the world, you guys. Just wake up, trade for a few hours, make some money, and then go surfing. Awesome. I miss surfing so much. I grew up surfing Malibu every single morning of my high school years on the way to school, because I grew up just kind of about a 30-minute drive from Malibu, just on the other side of the Santa Monica Mountains, in a place called Westlake Village, Thousand Oaks. And so my school was in the valley. So all I had to do is leave my house early, go over the mountains, surf, and then just come back over the mountains and drive to my high school. Those were the days. The good old days. So now I can't wait to get back to a good surf spot. I might do Lanzarote in the Canaries next. They've got a lot of good surf down there. I'm kind of leaning toward that. They also have a Waldorf school for my daughter, so could be a good spot. We were always on La Gomera before, the smaller island, which is nice. But there's no surf there. Kind of sucks. I like the surf. All right, so we got this bar's about to close here. There could be some support here, certainly. We are at the near low here. I want to wait. I'm not convinced yet, so I want to wait. You can see that this bar here, this higher time period bar is going to close. You guys see the volume counter down here, right? So that's 12,200 contracts that have already traded on this current bar. And it's going to close when this volume hits 15,000 even. And then that, you know, resets all the Owings market analysis indicators. And, you know, I get to assess where we are, what's the type of trading, you know, all this kind of stuff. Yeah, yeah, Steve, you know all about Malibu mornings. Guys, Steve went to school near there, so I'm being coy, Steve, because I don't want to give away any information you're not comfortable sharing. But Steve knows the exact area where I grew up surfing, because he went to school there. We found that out on the first time we were talking to each other on YouTube when we met. I was talking about Malibu and growing up there, and he's like, "Oh, I went to school in Malibu." I was like, "Oh, that's funny." I almost went to your school. That was one of my top choices for undergrad, Steve, but I chose Loyola Marymount University because I wanted to be closer to the city. I was kind of like a party guy, so Malibu for university was a little bit further. Now I'd love to be in Malibu because I don't want to party anymore. But for university, I wanted to be right by, you know, UCLA, USC. I got into USC and LMU, and I chose LMU. But your school was on my short list. And USC, even though I got into USC, which was good, that was a tough school to get into. I just didn't want to go there because it was right in the middle of, like, it's literally in South Central LA. Like, whereas I went to Loyola Marymount University, which is in Marina del Rey, like right on the beach, but you're still like very close to Hollywood. And I mean, it's like the best spot ever. I was lucky. Very nice parents. Thank you, Mom and Dad. You guys are the best. You gotta have a little luck sometimes. One thing that's weird about linking up the Apex accounts within the Sierra infrastructure is that I'm getting a lot of, like, I've got my message log open. It's constantly like opening and closing sockets. I don't really know what it's doing, but apparently it's copying correctly so far. So we're just gonna have to, and this is why I'm only doing 4 accounts today. And if we blow these, we blow these. But right now they're in good shape, so we'll see. So if we start to round the bend here, that'll kind of tell me that the support level here that I think could be strong would be like basically here. I'd want to see if this kind of closes back up here around 6. Yeah, here we go. This is what I was looking for, you guys. I think, I don't want to jump the gun, but I think we're putting in the support here, so might have to get long soon. A lot of support there at 126. One thing we will constantly check in on, for example, when we're trading the bonds, is we will constantly check in on the hourly chart of the 10-year treasury, which we'll just load here, and the 30-year. We'll also look at the hourly of the ultra bond, because even though we're trading it on the volume charts, you know, still get some interesting news from the hourly. Let's let it load the 30-year here. Because, guys, it's loading all new data because I'm bringing in Rhythmic now. You know, usually I use the Sierra charts data, which is much better. But when you're trading Apex on Rhythmic, you got to bring in the Rhythmic data into Sierra charts. So, anyways, that's why it's kind of reloading all this stuff. We'll see. Getting there. I think 126 even is looking like a pretty good support floor for the ultra bonds today. And now we want to see, we're heading into 9 a.m. So you can see, here's the 30-year. You see how the hourly is kind of cycling. Here's the 10-year. 10-year's got some support here potentially. Sure. It really just depends. We got a ton of weekly support here. So really what it's coming down to is, you know, does the daily here, here's the daily, guys. Daily ultra bonds. Does the daily just need to fish a little lower before we pick up all this weekly support? Or I think think there's a lot of support here. So we're going to keep an eye on this. But it's not like today was one of those days where when I did my weekly forecast, Steve, who went through it in the members area, I'm clear on the weekly price structure for the asset classes this week. But heading into Monday, there were no real clear winners for like, okay, such and such a market looks like a great buy or a good short on Monday. I couldn't see anything great for today. So that's why we're trading the ultra bonds and being a bit gingerly, because today nothing was clear. I want to save my my ammo for clear days. With that said, if we do blow 4 accounts today while we're testing, then we'll have a little fun at least while we're doing it. It's cheap entertainment if you blow accounts. At $32 a piece, you could just blow them left and right. It's kind of fun. No, I don't want to blow them. Especially, I'm trying to, pick good setups and all that kind of stuff. So, but I do accept that. I think a lot of people with the challenges, you got to just accept the fact that if you trade them aggressively, I mean, I haven't blown it. I mean, I'm working on getting these 10 up to the payout. Up to PAs and then payouts. So I would prefer to get there without blowing them. But if I do, I'm not really going to care too much, because in the end, it is a numbers game. Like, if you guys would do the math, if you blew 100 accounts, but out of those, let's say not blow 100, but let's say you blow 80 accounts, but out of those you have 100, and you get 20% only to PAs, and then if you only get payouts on, a quarter of the ones you got to PAs, you're still going to make money net, right? So you got to look at it like counting cards, and it turns into a volume game. All right, so it's 9 a.m. And if it looks like the bonds are going to be lackluster today, we can turn our attention later to the NASDAQ or something a little more tradertainment. We can get our Patrick Wieland ski goggles on. What do you think about that, Steve? Or Jazu, are you here? Should we get the Patrick Wieland ski goggles? You guys digging that? All right, so we're gonna get a close here on the ultra bonds, and we wanna just see where this closes. I think, guys, if we close down in here, I'm going to have to buy it. I'm going to have to. So if this one here, this is how I'm planning. If this one gives me a close anywhere in here, you can see the delta is holding up. We're 140, 155, 156. So there are some aggressive buyers here. I'm right now, I'm looking to probably, long. I'm not feeling super clear, so we'll just do one contract, because I'd rather be more aggressive. On the first trade, we took 2 contracts, but I'll switch back and forth between 1, 2, 3 contracts and it's copying to the different accounts as well. But I like to trade more contracts when I have, more clarity in the price structure. Right now, I still think there's a lot of support down here, and I'm willing to buy it, but I want to see where this thing goes. So we've got about 1,000 contracts left, guys, until each one of these close. Because this will be 3,000 contracts. This will be 15,000. And remember, we get 5 of these that need to close for every one of these. And again, that's like a 1-minute chart into a 5-minute chart, or, 12-minute chart into an hourly chart. Some people like to do 15-minute into hourly. Time-based charts suck. They suck. Like, they're okay if you want to look at the hourlies like we're doing and just get a sense of, where things are generally. But in terms of picking off great trades, the volume-based charts are just so much more powerful. Let's look at, we had the 9 a.m. close. So here's the 10-year treasury. I don't know. It's looking a little weaker, but it is pushing. I got to maintain. I gotta think the ultras are going to be well supported here. And you guys will see again, when we trade, it'll mark it on the DOM and the charts. You know exactly where we are and what's going on. All right, so we got, right now I'm leaning, I want to, the question is, we're rounding the bend here. Do I think we're just going to go for straight out trend reversal? Or Or are we going to congest down here first? Because that'll, you know, that determines which playbook I use. Right? Because I got a trend reversal playbook and I have a congestion playbook. And then that depends on, am I expecting congestion exit one way or the other? You know, there's all these little things that go into making the decisions. Let's see here. This is going to close in about 300 contracts. I'm liking the support so far at the 126 level so far. Kind of see where this closes. I'm not super nuts that the 10-year here closed below. You can see here's the 10-year, guys. You see how it broke its extension? Not a great sign, but still overall I am bullish. Yeah, here's, look at ZB, flushed down and trying to push back up, but also didn't hold the extension. But this could just be another exhaust to the downside for a move back up. I think so. Just like you see back here. I think there's a lot of support down here, guys. I do. Steve, what do you think? Is there a lot of support down here? Oh yeah. I think so. Trying to get long at 02. Yeah, the thing is we may even, I'm trying to get long at 02. But it may not even tick down to fill us. It could just go. Well, I'm filled. Now, if this trade is just totally gonna, you know, blow smoke up our you-know-what, then, you know, these lows down here will break. You know, we'll have to see. I think there should be a lot of support here, which is why, you know, that I had a decision to make. You know, should I try and get long down here near these lows, or should I try and get long near the middle of the envelope here? And I chose the middle of the envelope just because basically we have a nice pullback here, and the hourly charts do look like an exhaust for a potential reversal back up. And if you do get those exhausts, you know, that reverse back up, they tend to not pull back as much. Now, I'm not saying I'm going to be right, but that was my thought process that went into the trade. And on this one, you know, I really, if it starts to, you know, break below these lows with authority, I won't want to be in this. But I think as long as these lows hold, I gotta want to be in this. But it's going to be a quiet day today, guys, because we got no news. Well, I shouldn't say it's going to be a quiet day. I have no idea. I don't have a crystal ball. But we don't have any news. So they just pulled, they're pulling 100 there on the bid. Sorry. Yeah, on the bid. So that's suggesting we're going to potentially drop another notch. I don't know. I think if we head back down to these lows and we hold down there, I'd probably add another contract down there. We'll see. But if we really start to flush below these lows, then I don't really want to be in this trade. Kind of like, I kind of want this 126 level overall to stay strong for this trade. Because it just depends. Is this an exhaust to push back up? Or are we going to head It looks like wild congestion. I don't know. I still think the support is support until broken. So that's kind of, I got my game plan for the trade. If it loses, it loses. Not much I can do. Right now we're working with a nice cushion to start the day. So, but you could see right there, right, how the pulling, I could see them pulling, and you know, on a market like bonds, you can use this information pretty well. So we'll keep an eye on the footprint down here as well. It just doesn't look, we'll see what happens, guys. Anything can happen, of course. Just to me, it looks like even if we're going to head lower, it kind of looks like it wants to at least head back up to 7 or 8 today. Or, I mean, here on this particular pattern. But we're going to find out soon because this is the level that's going to have to hold. Well, you can use the delta for different things. Like here, so far, where you got to see how you have the, it was at one point, this was selling of minus 228. That's pretty big selling. And now we're already back to minus 150. So that's kind of good if you can see, if you see a large maximum minimum, like a large, I don't know how to say that, but a large, if the minimum ask volume bid, so like, if you see that this down here was like at one point, you know, minus 500 red, but then it closes minus 150 red, that tells you there was a lot of absorption there at that support level. So you can use these, you know, the delta and the pulling and the stacking to help. So we'll see. I don't know if this is going to be strong support, but we'll watch it. We'll learn. We only got one contract on right now. We're up nicely on the day to start here so far. So if this loses, no big deal. We'll go on to the next one. But I got to bet on support being strong here for now. And if it's not, it's not. Let's see. We'll see. So right now, you do have the offers were pulling up here quite a bit, and the bids were stacking a little bit. Now I want to see, you know, basically on the risk on this trade is I'm going to kind of give it, I really need my near low here. I need that level to hold 129, 128. Kind of the line in the sand for me. If it gets down there and looks like it wants to hold, that's where I could potentially put on another contract. And if it starts to break, I'll just bail on the one contract. But so far, again, we're just testing the copy trader here inside Sierra charts, and looks to be copying across these accounts accurately so far. So that's a good sign. I mean, I like bonds because I like them all. I like the NASDAQ too. I mean, there's across the NASDAQ as well. You can see we're at the lower, we're right around the value area low here on the volume profile. I'll use the volume profile a little bit. OMA is number one, and then the order flow stuff is just kind of, you just kind of plug that in. See what our hourly charts are doing. That's good. Look, ZB is trying to get back up. Let's see if ZN can try and get back up as well. It's trying. We need something like this. You guys see how it, you know, looks like a wacky day, right? Flush up, reverse, flush down, reverse up. Now it flushed down. We want it to reverse back up, right? We're kind of thinking that it's going to be that kind of day, but just my thesis to start the day. So you saw a little bit of support try and come in there. We pushed back up quickly to 01, but then we got shut down. Right. So let's see. We'll keep an eye. We still have about 9:13 a.m. Question is, do we want to trade the NASDAQ at the open? We'll stick with the ultra bonds for now. I think stocks are going to be wild at the open. Oh, it's going to be great to have some energy back. But I'm very happy that the copy trading is at least copying through okay. See, they're really pulling now. Minus 281. That's a pretty big pull, and they're stacking 215. So probably we're going to touch 126 again. And the question is, does it pop back up? That's a good sign. It's so far, when it's ticking down, it's kind of ticking back up. So bonds will move at the open as well. I mean, silver's kind of squeezing, like it doesn't care about rates. Stocks are squeezing. So I can't, I mean, we'll see. Bonds could just fall out of bed today. Anything's possible. But with all the support we're seeing on the charts, it looks like, you know, silver and especially the indices are kind of, I mean, I don't know. They're kind of front running higher bond prices right now. We'll see. But then you got, you know, copper and platinum just getting hammered this month. So there's a lot of strange things happening in the markets. But it's all right. Continue to trade them as we trade them. So we've got about 1,000 contracts left here, guys, until the current bar closes. You can see 126 so far seems to be holding price so far. Doesn't mean it has to hold. And I've got my, just because it's a round number, I've got my levels that I told you guys about 129 or so. Kind of down in here. Let's see what the hourlies are doing. Just kind of lollygagging around. Yeah, I think we're building some support here for sure. But if it breaks, we're going to bail and reassess. You got the bids now below 126. Stock market's going to open in 13 minutes. If this tries to get through these lows and then sucks back up and holds, I'm probably going to add a second one. But I need to see it push a little lower first. I have my reasons why, but just so you guys know, if there's a latency issue with YouTube, you know what I'm looking for. Right now we got about 740 contracts left until this closes. Okay, so that's good. Now if it can suck back up here and hold in this general area. Now if it doesn't, see, this is what I want to see now. I want to see it test and suck back up here. And if it holds, then I might add a second. I'll let you know. But if it starts to break down, I'm going to have to bail on the first. We got about 400 contracts left. I want it to close up here inside the lows. $2,700 contracts to go. You can see it was a max negative delta there of 578. And now we're at 370. So if we can get that 370 even smaller, now we're 414. They're really pushing it. I'd like to see this number drop with some aggressive buying driving them back, but let's see. We got well, 250 contracts left. I'm watching it carefully because if it doesn't suck up, I might have to close it. But I'll let you know. I want to see the reaction. I mean, so far, they're really pushing. Yeah, ZB's trying to push as well. Okay, there's the close. I think I'm going to have to probably bail on that, guys. All right, I'm going to cut that. I just, that's right. There was only one contract, so not a huge loss. But this is tricky start. I mean, I want to wait. I want to reassess this here. It's this did not respond how it should have if today's going to be a strong day. Not here anyways. Well, let's see. Unless it's going to take me out at the low in reverse, which is a distinct possibility. But technically, it didn't violate my support level that I called out, right? But I don't like that it closed on the lows below these lows with such heavy selling. That just, I felt like, it's just not like, why hang on to it, you know? That's why I cut it. And again, that's why I only went one contract there, you guys, because the way, and you got to trade this like Steve, you know, if you're trading certain accounts where, you know, you maybe don't want to be as aggressive or whatever, you can trade ZN because it's a smaller contract. Because I'm trading this today aggressively. So if I see something I really like, I might go 5 ultra bond contracts across each account, you know. By all means, don't copy me today. I mean, in terms of contract size. Because now we might just be flushing down back to the lows. But I think the fact that we had a daily true average here, the fact that that didn't hold up yet. No, bonds have been tricky lately, but stocks are going to be a mess at the open. We'll stick with bonds for now. We're getting into the flow. Have to refill my coffee soon. Boy, having COVID this long, I can't even remember what it was like to like have energy and not be exhausted. Be able to trade with like your full brain power. It's gonna be nice. It was quite a fucking handicap to get right when starting live streaming. But yeah, that's what happens during the Swedish winter. You can imagine, Steve, for you guys, you just get so much sun. It's probably just so nice. During the winter. So that was, you know, I think that was okay. We still might see some support down here. I don't know, but looking at the 30-year, I mean, the dailies in congestion. I think the ultra bonds might just be. Yeah, we might find some. It might have just been leaking down there to take out some stops, you know. And if that's the case, then I will not hesitate to re-enter because we still do have a lot of support here on OMA. Stock market's certainly going to cause some volatility. So I just didn't want to hang on and find out. You can always get back in. Like if this now sucks back up inside the range and closes up there on a good delta, then I'm probably going to have to re-enter. Let's see. Oh. All right, guys. I'm going to get a coffee refill. Market's opening in 5 minutes, so the bonds will move. And I still have a lot of support here into this. Yeah, there it is. I see a lot of support here. So they might have just been trying to shake out some weak longs like yours truly. That's okay. If we get a close up in here on a decent delta back inside, I might have to go re-enter. Just think this should have been stronger here is why I think well the price action will tell us. Because not only do I want it to suck back inside the range here with OMA, but I also want to see some strong buying. I don't know if I don't have time to get my coffee refill, guys, so we're just gonna have to. Oh, here it comes. Here it comes. Uh-oh, here we go. The question is, are we trending down now and we're going to pull back and keep trending? Or are we rounding the bend? I think we're rounding the bend, but I thought that here too. But I really think that here. So look at that, guys. Almost back to our entry. Suppose I could have held, but I'm still not 100% convinced that all this support down here is going to hold. I want to see it really start blasting off. Of course, I want to be in it. If we close like here, God help me, but I'm probably going to have to get long again. Got about 650 contracts to go. 3 minutes until the open. Probably going to have to get long here if we close up here on a decent delta. $30's kind of sitting there. 10 years kind of. I don't know. Maybe all that weekly support and the daily support will just break down. It could, but I think it's support until it's support. But we're not seeing super aggressive buyers yet. Ugh. All right, 9:29. Stock market's going to open here shortly. That'll also cause some volatility to come here at bonds. So you got to be quick. I don't know what the latency is, guys, but it's probably 5 seconds or so. All right, here comes the open. Yeah, definitely not buying that. I think we did a good job managing that loss just by using the price action. So if I'm going to take a loss, I try to lose, 5 ticks on one contract or something. Whereas if I try and get a win, ideally I'd like to get 10, 11, 12 ticks on 2, 3, or 4 contracts, because if I get into a position that starts to go and I'm feeling it, we will aggressively add. I think that's one way to kind of put your trading, if you really maximize your wins, and when you're in a winning position, especially one that you have a lot of reason to believe is going to keep going, and you got to be dialed into the market, concentrated and in the flow, then it's really good to so I'm not buying that, you guys. I'm not selling it, I'm not buying it. And then it can be really good to, instead of being scared that your profit is going to be taken away from you, add, pile into that trade and really milk it. Because if you can feel your way into a position with one contract, and when you lose, you lose 4 or 5 ticks, but then sometimes, all it takes, you can wipe out so many small losses if you just get one big winner every now and again. That's key. A lot of support down here, guys, at 125, 26. I'm still seeing some stuff down here. I'm very interested in this overall level, because this could just be one of these situations. I mean, here we are. We're going to find out soon. Here's the daily. Like, either we're going to break through these lows and head down here, which is a distinct possibility, or this is going to hold and we're going to push back up. I mean, the weekly pattern is strong for now, but we may need to test lower and then set up the big push for tomorrow. I'm just not sure yet, but we'll see. Let's go ahead and check in on the rest of the markets. We got ES 5045. I mean, pretty strong. There goes ES. There's bonds. Let's look at gold and silver. Got to re-download all the data here. Gold's at 2028, so this is going to give us a good idea too with bonds. So gold's not helping us out with bonds, that's for sure. So gold's breaking support. That's important. That's not making me feel great about the long bonds for today, because this was a key level here for gold, guys, and we're breaking it now. So I think bonds will go lower. We might have to. I don't know if I want to necessarily play the short side on bonds, but maybe. Look at silver, because it's just strange right now. Like silver, what? Okay, so silver. Wow. Okay, look at this, guys. Look at this. Silver just a mass. I mean, I was kind of hoping, you can ask Steve, I was hoping silver would close up here today and set up the short for tomorrow. Wow, that's weak. Okay, interesting. Silver's getting torched. I don't know why copper. Oh, I see. Copper just didn't change the this. I got to change the because we're using rhythmic here. So copper is on the 4 dot. Oh my. Because I'm bringing in the rhythmic symbols, you guys. So wow, that's a pretty serious reversal there on silver and gold. Let's look at the dollar. Still not. I mean, markets are strange right now, you guys. So got to keep hanging in there. The day is young. Copper loading up here. The dollar is still hanging in there. Very strange. It might just be so euphoric on stocks that everything else is getting dumped and everybody's rushing into stocks. You know, that could be the case. I don't know. I still think bonds are going to be the way gold and silver are looking. I think bonds are going to head back to their lows. I might have to start shorting bonds because it looks like my thesis of a long and closing up through Friday's highs. I think the thesis is looking more like we're going to close down through Friday's lows. So we might have to switch and look to play the short side. We'll see. I don't really know. I don't want to switch to being short right at the wrong moment. We'll see. It's not clear right now. Steve, are you getting any clarity? Some days are just like this. Right now, it's just not clear. Still having a good day in spite of it, so we just gotta kind of wait for stuff to clear up a little bit. Strange markets. The range. It wasn't strange markets though last Wednesday when Thor took my power. Those were pretty clear. You got to have the opportunity to capitalize when the markets are clear. Steve, it seems like you lost power. Man, it's just the correlations are really weird right now. I mean, look at that. That huge reversal on silver. My goodness. Maybe we should trade silver. Go look at silver, you guys. It hit my weekly resistance level. That's the level up there where I was really interested. Weekly resistance being strong. Wow. Already just round tripped so much. I'll stay on bonds for now. But silver, I mean, silver could be pretty good from the short side. But then so should bonds be. You can, oh, you're driving. Okay, well, good. Don't type. Sorry, Steve. don't type and drive. All right. So silver's looking, I mean, silver and gold falling out of bed. We're not seeing a lot of strength in the dollar yet. I think everybody's like, stocks are going to go up forever. Let's just put everything into stocks. So then like everything else is just dropping. So we might have to, probably going to look, I think my bullish bias for bonds based on what I'm seeing now for for gold and silver look very weak. Let's go back to, where's ES trading right now? 50.45. I mean, Russell's at 20.30. Pretty, I think everything's moving into stocks right now. You say, well, why don't I go to stocks? They just look a little too, I think they're going to rally into the end of the month for sure. But I think they could be a little bit of, pullback this week to set up the rally heading into month end. So I'm kind of just waiting for a weekly or a big daily pullback on stocks right now is what I'm waiting for. Whereas bonds, I do think we're at there's support down here. Go back to the ultras. So on the weekly and daily charts, I mean, there's a lot of support down here. And I think bonds could see a pretty big push to the upside this week. So that's why I started the day with a bit of a bullish bias for bonds. But now that we can see, and made some money on it, but now we can see it's breaking down. So I'm just kind of thinking out loud here to myself, guys. Do I want to just, focus on the shorts? I think bonds, they're kind of boring, but if we wait for, like right now, if we're trending down nicely on the lower time period here, we know that gold and silver are getting whacked. Probably money is leaving commodities, money's leaving the bond market, and money's going into stocks right now. That's just what's happening, right? So I think bonds will want to maybe retest down to the mid 125s. All this weekly support. I think this is where you're going to see the low of the day and the week, maybe. See here, 125.16, somewhere down there. We might be on our way there right now, and that's still a little bit further, so we could potentially make some money on the way down there. Because this, I mean, there's some, it's kind of wacky. Correlations are definitely being thrown off at the moment. This happens from time to time, guys. Let's see what the dollar is just an absolute mess. Just not doing anything right now. I mean, silver and gold, very strange. Let's look. It's kind of like Friday. We kind of have this similar feeling where it's like you're looking at everything. It's like it's just not just one of these time periods where stuff is strange. I just put a song in my head, guys. That song. Is it from Ferris Bueller's Day Off? You know that, like that. Strange. It's coming to me from Ferris Bueller's. I think it is that song. Here's ES. What NQ is doing. Oh, NQ is a mess. I think stocks are going to correct this week. I just do, which is why I think bonds will stabilize. But I think bonds need to go down to the mid 125s first. I think I still don't mind longing bonds. If we get a good pullback on the way down, I could be interested in for sure shorting bonds for now. But I do think we got a pretty clear picture on bonds right now. I'm going to stick with bonds. Like, I want to try and get short if I can on the way down here now to the mid 125s. And then I think there's going to be some support. I mean, if there's no support in the mid 125s, I mean, look out below. That'll be, I'm pretty sure there will be. So right now, I just want to see if we can get short on a pullback. That's good. The day is young. The profits are there to be had. I'm just going to stay a little patient. I like the new setup. We're getting comfy with the Sierra charts, copy trading, and just trying to navigate these markets now while, the hardest times to trade, guys, are when you're at the end of a super euphoric phase in stocks. It just, because it's asset dislocation or disallocation, right? So you just get all the traditional correlations just break down because everybody's like just all in on stocks, right? So you don't have like this, the normal money flows are kind of shifting, but don't worry, they're going to go back when this market takes a little bit of a breather. I do think we're going to rally through the end of the month. So I'm not against longing stocks. I just want to wait for a little bit of a pullback. And I think while stocks pull back, that's when we could see the bounce in bonds that I think is going to happen this week. Kind of my thesis heading in. So we just got to wait for the good trades to come to us. Still got, I think we're heading probably down to I think this bar wants to head down here to 125.20 down here. So if this can pull back a little, I might take a shot at a short. Because if we're with the trend, you know, and the short is correct, it'll start going our way immediately. Whereas if it's wrong, we could just take another, like a 3-tick loser. It doesn't really matter. So let's see if this can give us a little bit of a pullback here. You can see the delta is starting to shift to a little bit positive down here, but it's not not like crazy amounts of buyers are coming in. And gold and silver. So gold still at 2031, silver 2270. That was a pretty big. Yeah, here's ultra bonds. I think they're going to try and take out those lows. That's just my sense of it for now. That's just my sense of it for the moment. Yazoo, are you here? What do you think? Are bonds going lower? Tell me, Yazoo. I need to know so I can make some money here on this challenge. I'm going to look, if this pops, I might look to get short. I mean, there could be some support here. But feels like since we're in congestion here on the higher time period, we kind of want to cycle back down here is what I'm thinking. We'll see. If this pops, I may want to short. Definitely need coffee and cocoa. Water jug. I am, even though I'm tired, I'm in a little bit of a better mood today, in spite of the Swedish winter being horrible. I think I'm in a good mood because I'm loving being able to trade on Sierra charts and use all the really good tools, the nice, good-looking depth of market that looks like Jigsaw, but works even better. Trade from the charts, copy trade to the other accounts. Cool stuff going on. All right, so I don't scalp very often either, but today might be, if it looks like it's going to be a real wonky range-bound day in bonds. We won't really scalp, but we'll just play both sides. I think just the fact that it didn't hold. You see how wild bonds have been today, guys. Look how wild they've been. I mean, we've been up above here, and then we went way down here, back up here, and now, I mean, it's pretty wild. Pretty big positive delta coming in here. I mean, if stocks continue to really drop today, that could be the catalyst. Or maybe some money moving back into bonds. We got 2,100 contracts here. I think we'll see where this closes, but I don't know. I think it's trending down. we might be setting up just for another pullback. Pretty big positive delta though. You got to be careful there. You see when that pulled back, you only had 244. Here you got 576. You got to be a little careful. We'll see. I want to maybe get short here momentarily. See what the 10-year. There's the Ultra Bond hourly. Let's look at the 30-year hourly. Still kind of sitting in here. They look weak. Let's look at the 10-year. 10-year looks weak. I think I'm going to have to just try and get short the bonds here on a pullback, I think. And if it ends up not working, well, I guess I'll run out in the snow and cry. Just have to see. But I'd like to see some aggressive selling. You guys see down here the positive delta 514. I don't know though. Sometimes you got to know when to use these and when not to. OMA takes precedence. Let's see if we can get it. We got 2,300 contracts, so 700 left. This will close. I mean, guys, if we get a spike up here to like 126, I think I'm just going to have to go short. And if I'm wrong, then I'm just, you know, an idiot, I guess. Let's see. Let's see. $2,500 contracts. Unless we're going to short and it's going to round the bend, but I just don't think. Oh, there you go. There you go. Look at all that selling coming in. Yeah, I'll let you know. I'm definitely interested in shorting here. That was a lot of absorption right there. As you see, the delta didn't change, but that got knocked out. You can see sometimes because it just gets clunky. It goes clunk, clunk. It's an official trading term. Clunk, clunk. All right, so we've got 2,700 contracts traded basically, so 300 to go. I'm probably gonna have to try and short. Trying to short. Oh, but I gotta cancel that because when I do it for some reason on the DOM, it doesn't populate the chart. So I want to do it here for you guys. You see? It's weird that when I do it on the DOM, it doesn't copy it across there. So I'm still working out some issues, you guys. So we're short. I'm not jumping the gun again. Yeah, looks like it might be. But we're not going to get it perfectly every time. So I am shorting here against a pretty darn big positive delta, which is a little dangerous, must admit. But I'm willing to, you know, my stop would be, you know, I'm not really risking a whole lot in terms of stop and ticks, whereas if it works, we could be on our way down to the mid 125s and we could pyramid the whole way down. So that would be worth the potential risk here of being wrong. Well, not being wrong, but you guys know what I mean. It's like, I don't like these terms wrong and right. I like more like, you're just looking, like right now I'm just trying to like, okay, we're trending down on the lower time period. It looks like we're cycling back down to the lows. I mean, that might not be right, but if it is, we'll see. massively positive delta. So if we close down at like 125.28, even though we had a massive delta, is that telling us something? I don't know. If it's correct, the selling kind of needs to come in, you know, pretty immediately. So if it's not correct, then it'll go up and hit our stop. My stop now is going to basically be, see, 120. I'll put 126.01. But really, that 31, that level kind of needs to hold. The one that was just tested is the level that needs to hold. So if it doesn't hold, then we take a small loss. Well, here comes some buying. Might just be a tricky day for bonds. We'll see. I mean, the 10-year certainly looks weak. I don't know. We're going to find out. I'd kind of like not digging it so far. Well, that's good. We had some selling try and come in there. I mean, I'd really like this to close back down here, but right now it's not looking likely. Looking like it kind of started out with a really good day on bonds. Ooh, kind of punched it up there. Not looking good. Just going to take the 2-tick loss right there. Going to keep my risk. It'll probably drop now, guys. This bonds are tough today. Still up overall, so no harm, no foul. Just waiting for some clarity. Let's go ahead. This might just be a day just like Friday where you just don't want to push it because the market's just kind of fucked right now. ES is kind of pushing higher here. Gonna be a confusing day, you guys. The good news is we're testing our Sierra chart setup and it is working, which is nice. I mean, Russell 2000, guys, 2044. Thing is just off to the races. There goes, look, the 10 years trying to push lower. I think maybe the ultra bonds now are going to push lower and they just fished up there. Kind of a tough day. I might have to just wait for tomorrow, Steve, because you're driving and I'm not really digging it. So I think I'm going to do that. Just I need to let this market settle and see where the rest of the day goes because it's just not super clear right now. Let's just see. All right, take it safe today. Be chill. Don't worry about the money you're losing right now. It's not easy trading, and keeping the losses very, very small, which is what you want to do. And we just got to wait for this market to get a little bit clear. I think we're going to have some good trades this week on bonds and longing the bonds. They just got to find a little support first. I don't know. I'm going to take a break the rest of today, continue to rest. I'm still sick with COVID. So, but I'm liking what we're seeing on the Sierra charts. We're able to copy trade a little bit better, which is nice. All right, my friend, don't type. Just focus on driving, and we'll be back tomorrow, and we will rock and roll.